Is that
Yo,
MTG?
it's
Yo,
MTG
it's
Bert.
MTG.
Yo,
Bert.
Bert.
Yo, it's MTG Bert.
It's MTGBert. What's up, Commander players? It's Battle Rage Bert, and today we're going to go over our next video in the Tarkir Dragon Storm series, where I'm covering the decks that I've built for my personal lineup. This time we're talking about my Eshki, Temur's Roar deck. Stompy never looks so good. I want to thank Wizards for making me an official MTG ambassador for this set. Being an ambassador gave me the opportunity to evaluate and play these cards in a timely, in-depth fashion, and I'm stoked to bring you my findings. Now let's talk about the deck. Eshki's Temur Roar is a legendary 2/2 human warrior that costs a green, a red, and a blue. Eshki states, whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1 counter on Eshki. If that spell's power was 4 or greater, draw a card. If that spell's power was 6 or greater, Eshki deals damage equal to Eshki's power to each opponent. I can't tell you how much I love this ability. Being rewarded for playing big creatures is simply the Temur way, and Eshki dealing direct damage as a payoff puts a smile on my face. With her ability in mind, our gameplay loop is simple. Ramp early with small creatures to pump Eshki, our board state, and our resources, thus enabling Eshki to deal tons of damage when we finally get to cast our bigger creatures. It's a simple gameplay loop, so let's jump right into the cards that make it happen, starting with Ramp. Ramp is a vital vegetable in most decks, but it's paramount here. How we ramp is more important than just the ramp itself too. That is to say, the ramp in the deck is almost exclusively attached to creatures, so we can make the most out of Eshki's cast trigger. Cards such as Delighted Halfling, Fanatic Aronis, Legion Caryatid, Sakura Tribe Elder, Renati Behemoth Caller, and Topiary Stomper all fit the build to a T. Due to its sheer reliability, we're still running some typical non-creature ramp as well. So throw in Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, and 3 visits next to our trusty Soul Ring to guarantee our games get going. With ramp out of the way, let's see how we can keep our hand full of threats with some card draw. Card draw, or card advantage, is just as important in ramp, and with so many big creatures, power and mana wise, I love Up the Beanstalk in this deck. Another powerhouse that speaks for itself is going to be the Great Henge, which definitely stays drawing cards and putting counters on our board with 37 non-token creatures. Other options that help us draw cards consistently are going to be Beast Whisperer, Shaman of the Great Hunt, Dragonborn Champion, Enduring Curiosity, and Outcaster Trailblazer. These are going to be on our lower end of our curve because we also have Nezahal Primal Tide, Vaultborn Tyrant, and Soul of the Harvest as epic card draw options. Remember that Eshki does also draw cards when we cast a creature 4 power or greater. Now, a card specifically from Tarkir Dragonstorm that I high on is Winter Night Stories. This is amazing new tech for creature decks when it comes from the main set, rather than be found in the precons, by the way. The final mention in our card draw category is an absolute banger of a card. Last March of the Ents, which draws and lets us push creatures directly into play, just what I love to see. Let's get our last vegetables out of the way and then go ahead and get into our removal package. I honestly think removal is looking pretty damn lit, and while some of the cards are still testing, I believe we have our bases covered. If they don't work out, I can exchange them for more traditional interaction. Let's start by appreciating both removal options attached to Kogla and Yadaru, a fighting triggered ability, and an enchantment artifact crushing activated ability. And we'll back up these interactive beasts with one more, Silverback Elder, whose triggered ability we can repeat again and again. I'm excited to round out the removal section finally with Beseiju Who Endures, Reality Shift, Chaos Warp, and Cindervise. Removal is great, and it necessarily makes me think about protection from removal as well. Eshki is a big target, and we don't want to lose her. While I am running Stubborn Denial at the moment, there is something that is not sitting right with me. Because what if our protection comes in the form of creatures as well? I'm heavily considering adding something like Frilled Mystic and Voracious Great Shock to the list. But let's move on to your boy Bert's favorite section and talk about the spice in the deck. These are cards I love to see in my hand and I always feel like they're pulling their weight. My first spicy pick is absolute dynamite in big power decks, and it's not other than Dragonhawk, Fate's Tempest. Dragonhawk is a huge source of impulse draw, both on it entering and attacking. Not only that, but it can deal a ton of damage to those cards if they stay in exile. Dragonhawk specifically demands 4 power or greater, which is not a problem in this deck. We will be seeing tons of cards with this legendary bird dragon. Next pick for our spice is going to be Kozilek's Unsealing. I didn't include this in the ramp package, but it does indeed pull double duty. This complements our high mana spells by drawing us cards for 7 mana value or greater, or pumps out Eldrazi Spawn for mana values 4, 5, and 6. I'm like Bart Simpson with this card. I just think it's neat. The last spice pick goes to Temur Battlecry, which I have to reread a few times to make sure I was getting it right. Like, is this card even real, y'all? During our turn, it reduces our spells by 1 generic mana for each creature we control with power of 4 or greater. That's any spell, not just creature, and not just instants, and not just sorceries. All of them. This card is sick, and I can't wait to play it more. So here we're going to go into Bert's breakdown, where I go over some anecdotes over performers, potential underperformers, deck speed, and deck resilience. This deck is sweet. Eshki, I think might have converted me to the Temur side. I don't know. I've been enjoying Temur decks for a while now, but Eshki has just made it so I am just feeling it. The deck is pretty resilient. It makes a ton of mana between our ramping and our lands, or just from the reduction that we get. But we have a bunch of mana dorks as well, and we also have a lot of mana ramp. So that makes the decks pretty resilient. I cashed Eshki for maybe 11 mana once, and it still wasn't backbreaking. I have done some really sick plays with the impending Overlord of the Haunt Woods. It still counts as a creature on the stack, so then we still get that Eshki trigger for the 3 mana even if you're impending it. So we only won 1 damage doubler, which it's Twin Flame Tyrant, which is really good. It's a really good damage doubler. But I'm wondering if we could run more. There are a couple more on creatures, and that's what I want to prioritize, is our effects being on creatures, just so we can trigger Eshki more. We're at 37 creatures right now. A nice healthy bit of ramp, a healthy bit of card draw. Over performers right now, the Great Henge doesn't really need any introduction, but I have been happy with Kozilek's Unsealing, Cindervines. Cindervines has been really good. Even when people go to remove Eshki, it's like, okay, do you take the 1? Okay, I'm gonna deal 2 to you when I remove this. It's just really good. Cindervines has a kind of a pet card of mine now. Frostcliff Siege, which is a new card from Tarkir Dragonstorm, has 2 really good options, and it feels really weird to name the Jeskai side sometimes, but the Jeskai side, sometimes you just need to draw those cards, and then the Temur side, sometimes you just need that trample and haze, so it's really good. That's one thing about Eshki that is somewhat of a downside. She doesn't have any keywords, so she can be blocked pretty easily. But with this, she gets trample and haste, and trample is huge in this deck. So those are just overperformers. Creature wise, I think I am in love with Quilled Great Worm, because it actually fixes that problem I just mentioned of Eshki not having keywords by still powering her up. So if you have your Crew of Great Worm out, you can just attack and then get counters on Eshki, and then play your big creatures during your second main phase and just deal a ton of damage to the table. It's really sweet, and I believe that is it for overperformers. Underperformers, I think I was trying Roamer's Routine. It's half a Cultivate with Harmonize on the second half for 5, so you can get it for 1 mana, as low as 1 mana. I'm going to end up cutting this for a protection piece for Eshki. I think I need more options to protect Eshki. I still have Game Changer slots, which we'll talk about here in a second. I feel like that and Aurora Procession will come out for more protection pieces, and then we will figure out something. Maybe that frilled mystic that I was talking about. After Bert's breakdown, let's talk about Bert's bench. So 5 cards that didn't quite make the cut. I don't have 5 on this list. Cards that did not make the list are definitely going to be Kiora Behemoth Caller, which is a really good card. One of my favorite planeswalkers. I just think that I don't really get anything out of the untap ability, and then I really want my card draw to be on, effects like this to be on creatures. Kiora Behemoth Beckoner got replaced by Outcaster Trailblazer, which is a similar effect except it's a creature and it triggers Eshki. So it draws me a card on cast, puts a counter on Eshki, and then it draws me a card on ETB when the Power Forward Rigger enters. So that card is sweet. I cut Soin Mycospawn. I had it on the initial list. It's only a 3/3 for 4 mana, and I don't really have any special lands to go and get. Arena of Glory is pretty good, but I don't think running a creature just to get Arena of Glory is where I want to be. And then lastly, let's talk about Terror of the Peaks. I'm still on the fence as to why I cut this card. I think I need to reevaluate that. But I believe that Eshki deals a ton of damage, and this is a 5, so it would draw a card. If it was a 6/5, I would love this card even more, as it would help deal damage with Eshki. But doubling up on damage might be what we need, but if I feel like that's a problem in the deck's identity, I definitely will go back later, add Terror of Peaks. But as for right now, I don't think I need that little bit of damage that Terror of Peaks would be doing. I think we already have enough. So after Bert's bench, let's go into the brackets and my personal grade for the deck. So according to the bracket system, this deck is technically a 2 due to the lack of game changers. But I'm going to go ahead and adjust my bracket on Moxfield to be a 3, as I feel it's certainly stronger and more consistent than a Precon. As always, I will give this deck a grade based on not only how it performs, but generally how I feel about the gameplay and feel of the deck. S means I love the deck and the gameplay loop, and I feel the cards have all solidified in their place. A means I love the deck and the gameplay loop, but the cards still can be swapped out or made change for improvements for either fun or power level. B means I love the idea of the deck, but the gameplay loop is a bit unfamiliar or missing a certain element. And C means I'm mid on the deck, and the gameplay loop hasn't excited me like my favorite decks do. Eshki sits at an A right now, which I'm stoked to report as it achieves a grade while even I'm still admittedly fine-tuning some things. Make no mistake though, this deck hums. I'm unbelievably hyped for this early preview of Eshki, so thank you Wizards of the Coast for making your boy a Target Dragonstorm MTG ambassador. But I want to hear from y'all. What are some cards on y'all's Eshki's list? What are some changes that you'd make to mine? My Moxfield link is in the bio, and if you dug this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.